What's up, everybody? This is your man, DJ Square Knot, and you're tuned into my podcast, Square Knot Live, where we talk about music, real issues, meet great people, and get into fun and engaging topics. With that being said, let's get into it. All right. It's been a while. It's been a long while since I have been on my podcast. My apologies to you guys for that. And just know I've been busy and I've been working, dealing with some other issues and things of that nature. But now I think I've caught my fill of all the stuff that's going on out here. And one of the things that is really getting me the most is oh my God, the whole thing about these vaccines. And I take a breath on that because I am truly tired. I see so many people who say, I'm not getting the shot. I'm not getting it because they're going to be able to track me and all kinds of crap. And I'm like, first off, who is they? And then what do you think you are right now with your cell phone? You think your cell phone's not being tracked? Everywhere you go, even if you turn off the location, they still know where you are because there's something called triangulation. So people know where you are. Within 3 cell sites, they know exactly where you are because guess what? You turn off your location, but you still are communicating with the cell towers because guess what you want to do? You want to text, you want to talk, you want to, get in front of your phone or whatever. You're still being tracked. So that needs to be debunked right off the bat, being tracked. Then there was this thing about when the vaccine first came out, people taking the vaccine, they're going to be dead in a year. Well, a lot of people have already taken this vaccine and they are going almost into a year now. And they're going to be fine. They are fine. They're working. They're doing whatever they got to do. I know plenty of government employees who have taken it. They're fine. I've taken it. I'm fine. I just don't understand where we are with this. I know I won't get a lot of people to communicate or participate on this one. Or I'll even invite you to the Zoom so that we can chat about it. But I'm tired. Every time that's why I stopped watching the news. I stopped watching the news because of everything that I'm seeing. Because when this thing really hit right off the bat, and I won't say at the end of its day, but when it was the most powerful, when it was really hitting with the first round, and it killed 600,000 people, that should have been an eye opener for you. And yet, and still, people are saying, "Oh, I'm not taking the shot." Number one, they're like, "It's not real." I have family members that have said that it wasn't a pandemic, or they called it the plandemic. See, that to me sounds like someone who is listening to someone else. They don't have the facts for themselves. They haven't taken the time to research. They're going off of what someone says because they feel that they can trust that individual instead of trusting themselves. People can sit and they could tell you things, but when you have the proof right there in front of you, or when you see it working, you see it in the mix, that is the proof right there. True in fact. Let's keep it real. Some people got the shot or they were vaccinated, and some people passed away from that. But when they went back and did the studies on that, a lot of those individuals that passed away, they had underlying conditions that they didn't let the people who administered these vaccinations know. So these are the type of things that's why they were very clear. If you have underlying conditions, and they gave you a list of underlying conditions, and they said, if you have these, please think twice. So it was very, very clear. But of course, people do things out of fear, and fear is the one thing in America that makes people respond the way we're responding right now. You get what I'm saying? 600,000 people. We just passed a day that is near and dear to me. It should be near and dear to you if you are American. And that's 9/11. With the thousands of people we lost there, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people that we lost there. We saw this country come together and actually work for the greater good. That was one of the times where I could truly say I felt really proud to be an American, because we all came together. We didn't care what color you were. We didn't care whatever. We were just trying to make sure that we kept this country safe, and we did what we had to do. But then you get this vaccine that kills 600,000 people. I'm going to say this virus that comes and kills 600,000 people, and no one, over 50% of the country, if not more, doesn't want to come together because they feel that the government is telling them what to do and violating their rights. Well, I'll put it out to you like this. I'll keep it real simple, ground level with you. You want to drive a car, right? What do you have to do? You have to get a license. You have to get insurance. And if you don't, what happens? You're being told to do that. When you go to a sporting event, you go to any type of concert or anything like that, there are protocols that you must follow. You get your ticket, you go in, they seat you in a specific spot, and then they tell you, don't do X, Y, Z. You follow those protocols. You got a few knuckleheads that'll get out there and try to do whatever they want. And next thing you know, they're getting kicked out. But come on, let's keep it real now. So when this vaccination comes up, all of a sudden, people got a problem. People were saying, oh, it's too new. They made it too fast, all these different things. But people, you got our people, African Americans, Black, whatever you want to call us, thinking about the Tuskegee experiments and all of that. For one, sure, that was a real bad thing. And the country has gone over and over and over on this, and that we will never forget. We will never forget that, for sure. President Obama made a formal apology. President Clinton made a formal apology, and they put different things in place, new and bills in place, and so on and so forth. So, but now we are decades and decades and decades later, because there was this one thing out there that we have, and it's in the air, believe it or not. It's in the air along with hundreds of other viruses, and that's the flu. Now, the flu was created way back in the early 1900s. I think it was right around about 1930, somewhere up in there. I can't remember the exact particular time, but it was way early. And we were in a pandemic situation at that particular time. But soon enough, it got to the point where people got their vaccination, herd immunity started to take over, and then everything went fine. Everything was good. And now The flu is out there it's in the air. We breathe it in the air, believe it or not, but our bodies pretty much are immune to it. Whether you've taken a flu shot or not, because a lot of us have done it already. So it outweighs and takes care of that herd immunity situation. And they even offer it every year. They still offer the flu shot every year. But we get COVID-19. We're calling it every type of virus in the world. It is. We're calling it we're calling it a pandemic. We're calling it, it's not real. It's not really a situation. It's an outbreak, whatever. However you want to look at it, the matter of the fact is, it's killing people. That's the key. It's killing people. So when you sit back and you think about, I'm not going to get a flu shot. I'm not going to get the COVID shot because it's going to track me. They're putting a 5G chip in me. They're putting all this crap in me. Come on, y'all. Let's get real now. Let's get real. And when going back to the thing about the virus was created too fast. Well, there was quite a few things out there, but think about it. Technology has evolved. I'm a technology specialist by trade, 33 plus years, trained very well. So if there's anything about technology I know, it's that. I'm not saying on the medical side, but in terms of technology overall and how things go, how things work, and you can expect an advancement in technology at least at max every 18 months. Every 18 months max. Everything is going to evolve. It's going to change. It's going to get better. That's just how it is. That's how technology is. Because someone is always creating something greater. Someone is always doing something a little bit better, and so on and so forth. So going back and thinking about from the technology back in those days of when all the stuff was going down, Tuskegee experiments, the flu, and so on and so forth, and thinking of 2020. Look at the decades of technology that's behind it. So, of course, things are going to be created quicker. It's like, for example, back in the day when they had to build cars. Back if I looked it up right now, Ford got 100 cars off the line in a month. Now they could do 100 cars in 30, 40 minutes, couple hours, because technology has advanced. That's what that is. Technological advances allow that to happen. So get it in your mind that it's not all about you as the individual who you're helping save the world by not doing what you need to do to help others, because it's not only about you. I can understand if you have underlying conditions and things of that nature that prevent you, or if you have a religious situation, which I know a lot of people who will use that religious flag and don't have a piece of religion in them. But what I'm saying to you is I understand that, and I'm not going to push against that. But don't come and say things like, they're tracking me or whatever, because you're being tracked every day. Number one. Number two, you're saying that they're telling me, the government is telling me what to do, and I don't have to do this. Well, guess what? Every day of your life, you're being told what to do, because guess what? You got to pay your bills, because if you don't pay your bills, your ass is sitting out on the street. And soon enough, you're not going to be sitting out on the street, because they're going to move you from there. Then you got, of course, like I said before, you want to drive a car, you got to get a license. Eventually, you're going to get a license, or eventually, guess what? You're going to get caught. That's just the way it is. And then the ramifications for not having something as simple as a license has great more ramifications and negative results to it. So just do it. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very simple. If you think about, let me break this down for you. You have a child. You raise this child until what is this? You get them where they are, you get the child to where, excuse me, there, you get the child to where they are of school bearing age. Guess what has to happen for that child to go to school? Now, there's been cases, again, like I mentioned, about religion. But with everything that's going on, I'm not even sure that that's gonna fly even more. But your child has to go through a whole bunch of immunizations. And we don't know what's in those either, but we still get them done because guess what? I know you don't want to have a lot. Let me tell you, a lot of people that during this pandemic, their true colors came out about teachers because they really thought that their teachers were glorified babysitters, which is a total disrespect. A total disrespect. And it just blows my mind. But that's a whole nother topic. So your child has to get immunizations. And these immunizations, this immunization record follows them through their entire time from K through 12. Because over periods of time, that record is reviewed, and what they don't have, they will get. Otherwise, they won't be able to attend school. Unless, of course, there's some religious type situation going on. And then there's other protocols that have to be followed. But what I'm saying here, people, is let's really think about some of this stuff that you're doing. And I'm not saying these are not for the people that are vaccinated. These are for the people that I hear constantly that are always talking about, they're telling me what to do. This is my rights. They're trying to turn us into a communist country. Come on now. Let's get real about this. Let's get real about this. And you only say these things because that's something that's published elsewhere. You don't take the time to sit and just dig and even, hey, pick up the phone and call the CDC. Call someone who actually is in the front line of this thing instead of talking to someone who doesn't believe in anything if it's not something that's going to benefit them. Let's keep it real. So if you want to try to deny what is here to help us, get it all. Get it all. Get it all. I want you to be able to just really come back and give real good, solid answers. So that like, for example, I talked to a guy. Well, I talked to quite a few people, but I keep my distance from them too, especially after I know what the situation is, because I have to worry about family members as it relates to vaccination is concerned. So I don't play games when it comes to that. You know, we've had some close calls. Thank God. We were negative on both of those occasions. And you know what? Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. But when I asked them, why do you feel that you don't want to take the shot? Here comes the 5G chip again. They're gonna be tracking me. They created this thing too fast. When the FDA approves it, I will get the shot. Well, guess what? The FDA did that. Now what's your excuse? Well, there's not enough proof that it has fetals, it had fetal material and all that stuff. No, it doesn't. If you go and you read the listing of what is in the shot, you will be very much surprised. You guys will be surprised to know that there is salt and sugar in the shot. How many of you guys know about that? There are a lot of other things, but I'm just telling you, that's just simple things. But let me break down to you just so that you understand what this shot does in a nutshell. I'm not the scientist. I'm not the doctor. I'm just going to break it down to you in the thing because people say it gives you COVID. Kind of like they say it works like the flu shot, because the flu shot does give you the flu. But the flu shot was designed to do that because there's so many different variants of that. So it has to inject that into your system real quick. And then after that, you start to feel better afterwards. And that's all part of that shot triggering your immune system to fight off this particular type of virus, because each type of virus has its own signature and does its own works in its own way. But with the COVID shot, when you get this shot, you get this vaccine, what it does is it takes your system. And what it does is if COVID tries to attack your body, it creates these proteins that is designed to fight off, to trigger your immune system, to build your immune system to fight off this COVID. Now, that doesn't mean that because you got the shot that you still can't get COVID. Let's make that very clear, because we have seen that already. Salute to Gilbert Bass for going live on WRAL and sharing that. But he shared the difference between having a shot and not having the shot, which I think I was like so grateful that he did that. So salute to him for that. But it's designed to help fight this thing off and reduce the chances of you having to be hospitalized. Now, if you're not hospitalized and at the same time you're getting there, you're building the herd immunity, because the more people that are around each other that have the shot, the more that gets out. The more that gets out to the point where the virus cannot infect anybody. It's only when you get those who don't want to get vaccinated, that want to get out and do all the partying and do everything possible and get around everyone else, breathing all in their face and everything. And next thing you know, 15 minutes later, because all it takes is within 6 feet and exposure for a constant 15 minutes for this thing to travel to someone else. That's all it takes. Shoot, it takes me 15 minutes to eat a burger because I eat slow. So think about that. But if everyone gets this thing, that just builds the ring, builds that ring of that structure, that thing, that ring of protection. That's what that is. But we don't see it that way. And we don't look at it that way. We look at it as someone is telling us, or someone is telling me what to do. And that's my God-given rights. I don't know what to say. But I am perplexed at all the things that I see. The mask situation. Come on. Come on, people. Come on, people. Should we really be fighting, going to knockout punches and blows over wearing a mask? And the last time I checked, when it comes to schools and people are out there fighting, talking about, I don't want my kid to wear a mask, it's smothering them. Well, guess what? Keep their little asses home and you stay there with them. Don't send them to the school, because you are not thinking about the people that have decided to send their kids in the proper way. And more importantly, you haven't even thought about the teachers who have to go and do that job every day. And they do that from their heart, because teachers don't get paid enough to do none of this stuff. And they basically are doing this for free to go in there and take care of your kid, which is how you look at it. But they look at it as pouring into your child so that they can have a better future. But you don't want that. And all you got to do is hey, wear your mask. When you go to class and you see Miss whoever, you wear your mask. No ifs, ands, or buts. And that's the other thing about parents today. Parents want to be their friends to their kids instead of being parents. So that's why we have the situations we have today. So we should never be fighting or arguing about someone wearing a mask. And then adults, please. Please. If you see a sign on an establishment, Walmart, Target, shoot, it could be Caesar's Pizza. If it has a mask on the door, that don't mean you could just walk up in there without a mask. And then when you walk in there, it's 9 people in there. You're the 10th person, and all them other 9 people got masks on, and you don't have masks on, and you feel that you don't have to wear a mask. Get out of here. Come on. Let's get real about this stuff right now. I am so sick of seeing all this stuff that's going on. It's just ridiculous. Now, hey, I'm sitting here on a Zoom. I put my Zoom link in the in the Facebook chat. So if anybody disagrees with me, you can definitely come in here and we can debate it out. We could talk about it. You see my face. I want to see your face too. And then on top of that, hey, put some notes, put something in the chat. Let's keep it real. I want you guys to help me understand why I'm seeing and why if you are one of these people that's pushing against the vaccinations and pushing against the mask mandates and all that stuff, something that's simple, which guess what? Is going to be the new normal. We will not go back to the norm that we used to know pre-pandemic. Come on. Let's get real about it. And if we do, it's going to take years. I mean, we were saying 2022, it may be 2025 before we see that again. Because people don't want to do the right thing. They don't want to come together. And after 600,000 deaths, which you hear so many people say, yeah, when those people were in hospital, what they did is if they went to the hospital for a common cold, the hospitals were claiming that they had COVID so that they could get paid $70,000 per person. I want to see the proof on that because you just said that. I want to see the proof on that. And if you believe that, I want you to send me the proof. Send it. Inbox me the proof because post a link on this thread because this thread is going to be on my wall. So post it there because I just want to see it. I'm just really getting sick of the stuff that people are saying and they have no proof. I told you about what the vaccine does. I went and did that research. I did that research prior to me taking a vaccine because I have problems with my heart. So I wanted to make sure that I was good. And guess what? I'm good. So the first day that I took the shot, my arm was a little bit sore and I had a little queasy feeling for a little bit, which they said you would have. Some other people had, fevers. They got hot flashes. They got other little things. But within a day or so, it was gone because that was the vaccine triggering in your body. People are talking about, oh, it's changing my DNA. Check this out. If I ask 50 people right now to break down a cell to me, could you do it? Could you do it? Well, let me help you. We are made up of billions and billions of cells. Billions of cells. And if we want to make it even more, gazillions of atoms and all kinds of different things, that's what we're creating, right? And let's take it on a molecular level. You got your cell. And I'm going to just put this out there like this. So in a nutshell, draw a circle and then draw another circle in the middle. Now you tell me where the DNA is. Tell me where your DNA is in those two circles. Tell me where your DNA is. I'll wait. Of course, a lot of you don't know, but your cell, your DNA is in the center. Now, with the COVID virus, it's not designed to enter that center bubble. It's designed to help get that protein to protect the outer circle so that it protects that, so that it never touches your DNA. So when people are talking about all this stuff about, oh, it's going to modify my DNA and I'm going to grow an arm out of my neck and all kinds of crap, that scares people. And people work off of this fear factor. And we don't need to do that to people, because you got a lot of people out there who, as soon as you say something like that, they get freaked out. I'm not one of them. When you tell me something like that, I'm getting ready to go do some research so that I can go back. And if it's right, I'll tell you, yo, you know what? You were 100% right. But if you were wrong, I'm going to straight up tell you, yo, you need to stop putting out that bad information because you are totally wrong. Here it is right here. You know what I'm saying? But we got to start working together, people. Getting back to this mask mandate and stuff like this is something else. And the virus mandate. The vaccine mandate. So I know over the past several months, you've seen quite a few leaders who get the vaccine. Maybe they're sheriffs, maybe they work for major corporations or any of those type of organizations, work for different unions or whatever, union leaders and so on and so forth. And they're vaccinated, but they will not mandate that their subordinates, the people that are in part of their organization, get vaccinated. And you have to scratch your head on that one, because that would be considered normally a contradiction, wouldn't it? You went and got the very thing that your subordinates are against, and you won't push it on them. You know why? You know why they don't do that? Because it's all about politics. And what does politics equate to? Money. Money. So they're not going to hurt their purse. And guess what? In that same case, they're not thinking about us either. So you have to also keep that in your mind. Dig into your mind for a minute and just sit back and think about the things instead of going off of what is on the surface. You have to dig in order to get the right thing. Because as long as you're at the surface, you're going to always think about yourself. It's only when you start to dig and really get to the real answers when you will start to open up your mind and you'll start to not only think about yourself, but you'll think about others. That's the key. So when these leaders are saying, I'm a sheriff. So when you got sheriffs, for example, that say, I'm not going to mandate that my officers get it. Well, hey, it is what it is, right? Y'all don't want to do it. You don't want to protect the department. You go out here, you get around a bunch of people, you get in a confrontation. A confrontation takes a bit of time. Next thing you know, you become the one who is spreading. Or maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe you do want to spread it. That's the other thing. Because there's been no secret that, of course, African Americans have been affected the most And of course, racism is rampant in the United States. I'm just keeping it real. My mom has always taught me, don't look at color, look at how a person treats you. So I don't. I see you as an American. I see you as a good man or a good woman, period. And that's just how I roll. But you got a lot of people that don't think that way. They think about ways to hurt. And if they can do it in a subliminal way, that's what they're going to do. So then you start to think about that. Does that fall into law enforcement or what? It could. Could that fall into government? It could. It's just like in up in the government, you got the Senate and the House. You got all these representatives and senators up there who don't get the vaccine. And it's all because of their constituents. They don't want to upset their constituents, or they may secretly go get it done and not tell you. You don't know, because they'll lie to you. Politicians lie. There's no, you know that for a fact. We already know that. So, hey, as long as they can get your vote, that's money in their pocket. That's how they're able to vote an 80% raise for themselves and 4% for the military. The people who actually go out and put their lives on the line. Think about this. You got teachers who are now putting their lives on the line to start your kids' lives, get them started on their path to great careers. And then you got the military out here putting their lives on the line for their country and putting themselves in harm's way to make sure that we're safe. On both ends of the spectrum, the two, and they're the ones that get paid the least. Think about that. Teachers, I say that every teacher in this world, what's up, Black Rob? I see you, bro. Every teacher in this world should at least be making six figures. Because with what they do, their job is nonstop. And I can tell you, because my wife is an educator. And she was in the classroom for 23 years before she left the classroom. And now she's at the collegiate level. And so she's been doing it now. Shoot. Let me see, 27 years. So come on, let's get real. Now, I will say this. I'll put this caveat in there. If you are one of those educators that just go into the class or go to work just to collect a paycheck and don't teach the kids, you got to go. You got to go. Because that tenure thing, that's where the tenure thing hurts. If you get someone who gets tenure and they actually are doing the job, that's beautiful. Salute to them. But you get those ones that go in there, they get tenure and they just get lazy. They sit down, they don't do anything. Because they know that they're protected and they're going to get their paycheck regardless, you need to go. But teachers, overall, that job, that profession is a selfless job. And it's one of the most disrespected jobs. So when a teacher is trying to teach a class and all they want their class to do is wear a mask, tell your kid to put on a mask. Tell them, wear your mask when you go to class. That's all you got to do. If you don't want them to wear the mask after they leave school, guess what? That's your call. But when they on school grounds and they are doing whatever they got to do, interacting with kids and students in that class, teachers and in their classrooms and in the hallways or whatever, the whole time they're on the grounds, put the mask on. They'll get used to it. I've had to wear gas masks for hours and hours and hours. Hey, and that wasn't comfortable neither, but I did it. And guess what? I survived. So when you get these kids that you telling them that they can make the decision, you're setting them up to be the ones that grow up whooping your ass. That's pretty much it. Be a parent. Be a parent and do the right thing. And by you doing that right thing, you're helping the rest of the community. And maybe there's somebody who will see you doing it that would then help follow suit, because maybe they're not a leader like you are. Maybe they're a follower. And God knows we got a lot of them out here. What's the shot good for? I tell you what, why you we got my man, we got my brother-in-law EJ on right now. EJ, I would love for you to click on the link and join in on this conversation so that we could get you on camera and you can talk about, because he asked the question, what's the shot good for though, brother-in-law? The shot is one of the things that helps protect you and the people around you. If you get in a room, I'll give you. I'll use this example very lightly, because I don't want to disrespect. But I personally know someone who didn't have the shot, but the other individual did. And the person that didn't have the shot, and they lived together, and the other person that didn't have the shot got COVID. But the person who had the shot, they never got it. And they were together. They're together all the time. That's simplicity right there. That's letting you know that the shot does work. That's all I'm saying right there. So if you feel that the shot is not working, or you feel that it's no good, then tell me why. Because that question is kind of loaded if you really think about it. You know, I could take that different ways, but I want to hear from some of you all who say that the shot, like he just asked, what is it good for? Hey, I just gave you a prime example. So when you hear something like that, what does that do for you when you hear something like that? Now, we have also been in the company of individuals who tested positive, and thank God, when we got our test results back, we were negative. And I truly believe that was because we had the shot. So now, if there are people out there that believe that that's not the case, then I want you guys to really talk about it. I want you guys to tell me. But getting back to what I'm saying here, teachers. You get these teachers that are going to class every day. And you got parents standing out in front of schools protesting about wearing a mask. If you're standing out in front of a school protesting, that means you have a lot of time on your hand. And guess what? If you have that much time on your hands, there's a whole bunch of signs when you drive down the road everywhere that got signs that say now hiring. You might want to go and pick up one of them joints, because spending your time talking about a kid not wearing a mask. Let me repeat that again. A kid, and you're the adult, you're the parent, your child not wearing a mask in an establishment that has mandated that these children wear a mask because they need to be in there and they need to be protected. They need to make sure that they're protecting everyone around them. And let me make it very clear. The mask does not prevent you from catching the virus. So don't think that I think that, because I don't. The mask is used to help with preventing spread. That's what it does. And if everyone has a mask on, Just think about the help that that does. Just think about that. It's like, for example, if you sneeze and you don't have a mask on and you sneeze and a lot of us don't, we'll just sneeze right out in the air. We don't even cover our arm up, which covered up with our arm, which we should. But a lot of us will sneeze, just sneeze. Whoosh. If you could see a sneeze, the statistics has already says that a sneeze will travel 15 feet. 15 feet, a sneeze, 15 feet. But if you have your mask on, it may not travel too. It may not travel at all. So just think about that. That's what this is about. So my brother-in-law said, okay, now my thing is, bro, I see a lot of cases where people have the shot and still pass from corona. Yeah, I just spoke about that. People pass from corona because sometimes there's underlying conditions that either the individual themselves don't know about, or they didn't let the facility that vaccinated them know about. That happens sometimes. You don't know if you don't keep up with, a lot of people don't keep up with their body. A lot of people don't know what they have a lot of times. Hey, I'm driving one day and next thing you know, I'm about to pass out from a stroke or whatever, because I didn't know that I had AFib. It was by the grace of God that I got to the emergency room when I did. I was driving and my heart rate was 162. By the time I got to the emergency room, it turned from 162 to 220. And then my blood pressure went up to 200 over 189. I was in stroke, 208 over 189. I was in stroke range. But they administered medication immediately. And from that point on, I've been on medication. It's been 3 years now. So you people just don't know. Now, let me see what else you put. I've been taking elderberry, been around my immediate family that had it, and we are all in the same house. My fiance, my son, my mother. Sure, there's a lot of people that saying that there are remedies out there. There are remedies out there to do it, right? But for example, elderberries, you have all these natural substances in your body. Fine. Hey, if it's working, it's working. But when it comes to herd immunity and things of that nature, does that really help? Because there may be something that the elderberry can't build. There may be something else that whatever you're taking, that in terms of building a protein around your cells to make sure that when it detects any type of COVID, that it will fight it properly. So that's where you do your research. That's where you do your research on it. People are putting out that you take elderberry, you drink, you swash your mouth with mouthwash all the time. What's the other one that I heard? You wish your mouth out with wash mouth. You do elderberry and zinc. You take zinc. Well, it is what it is. Now, God made our bodies to fight off a lot of different things, but it takes time to do that. And the more time that you don't do it while everybody else is trying to do it, you're holding up the pack. So then for every 10 that are doing it and every 5 that are not, that gives that 5 that opportunity to pick it up and take it to another 5. So that the race is never being won because of that. That's all I'm saying. So you have to look at this thing, and you have to look at this thing in key words. And sure, I say may not, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. All I know is that it has helped me. But it kills me when people are putting out misinformation. When you put out misinformation about, I'm not going to do this because it's killing us, because I know people that have taken, like you say, people that have taken the shot, or you've seen cases where taking the shot. But how many cases was that as opposed to the people that have taken the shot? People that have not, as opposed to the people that have. Who's dying more? Who's dying more? And then I heard some people say, well, the cases that where people are dying and that have the COVID, they're not reporting that. And I say, prove it. Show it to me. I'm not being naive about it. I just want to know. I just want to see the information myself because I've been doing a hell of a lot of research. I did a hell of a lot of research when I took the shot. When I encouraged my wife to take the shot, I did a hell of a lot of research. And the reason behind that is because I wanted to make sure that we're safe because we got a grandbaby that we have to be worried about. And when my other grandkids, when they come up, I don't want them to get sick or something to happen to any of our kids, but especially our grandchildren. And it be because of something that we did that we could have done. That's how I look at it. That's just how I look at it. You know, there's no passion, judgment or whatever. You do what you want to do. But all I'm saying is it gets to a point where you have to sit down and really think about all of this stuff, man. And we have to learn how to make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons and not let those reasons be because of something that you heard. Let it be because of something that you know. Because if we are constantly listening, then we are not being leaders to the front line of this thing. That's all I'm saying about that. We need to learn how to stop doing this and be able to uplift people and get them to understand what's out here. I know people every day that look at YouTube and they see all these different people out here talking about all these different things or whatever. But I tell you what, you got a lot of these people who get out there, they say they're not doing or whatever. And guess what? Behind closed doors, they taking the shot. I guarantee you. But yet and still, they want you to believe what it is. So you have to make sure, keep it fresh in your mind every day that you walk out, that when you don't wear your mask, when you don't do the things that are not only for you, but for once you start not only doing the things for you, you start doing it to help everyone else, and you build in that circle. That's what you become put yourself in a better situation. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I'm getting tired of seeing all the stuff that I see, and this thing with the mask mandate and people fighting over masks. Let's get real. You wore a mask the whole 2020 damn near, and if you didn't, something was wrong with you. Because there's no way in the world that I was about to go somewhere around someone knowing that this thing is out there and I don't know who they were around. And guess what? I know I personally have had personal family members, friends, co-workers who have passed from this thing. Masonic family who have passed from this thing. One day I'm talking to them. The next thing I know, I hear that they're sick. And then after that, they're gone. And then I always ask, were they vaccinated? No, they weren't. And some of them was like, they believed that they could take zinc. They believed that they could eat them elderberries. They believed that they could, I forget this other stuff that they were talking about, some black seed oil or some other stuff. Sometimes your immune system is not perfect. So in a perfect situation where you're able to take that stuff and it works for you, hey, kudos to you. But not everybody's immune system is that way. So extra protection is what it is. But please don't come and tell me that, oh, they're putting chips in you or they're tracking you, because they're tracking us all the time. Even when you, like I say, when you turn off your phone and that the location part on your phone, and you think that you are not being tracked, come on. My own brother, Hubert Adams, taught me how to read a phone bill. And that phone bill showed that at any given time, your phone is communicating with at least 3 cell sites. You know what 3 cell sites is? A triangulation. With that triangulation, I could pinpoint where you are within 15 feet. So you're always being tracked. So when you say, oh, they putting a chip in me. Oh, Bill Gates is this. Oh, you know what? It is what it is, man. Get off that. Get off that. The whole thing about the technology it was created too fast. Well, guess what? There's a lot of things that get created like super duper fast. And that's because technology evolves and it moves fairly quickly. And as it moves, guess what's going to happen? Things are going to continue to get greater and faster and smoother. You know, things are just going to continue to happen that way. And we have to be able to understand that. We have to be able to realize that if technology had not evolved, we would still be sitting here computing on a Packard Bell. If anybody, you guys, I'm taking it back. I'm showing my age now. A Packard Bell 386 or 286 SX 25. If you guys know what that is, then you guys will know exactly how old I am. With 5.25-inch floppy drives and maybe a 1.44 A drive, and then maybe 4 megs of RAM. That's what the computers used to be like back in the day. And they filled up a whole desk by the time I got to that. And prior to that, computers used to fill up a whole room just to make a simple computation like 1 + 1 = 2. But technology has evolved, which has allowed these different technologies to work in different arenas: science, chemistry, all the things that are required when it comes to creating vaccines. The COVID-19 vaccine, for example, a lot of people were saying that it was fairly new. Well, that technology, like I say, it's been on the shelf for decades. It's just a matter of it doing it, of implementing and reconverting it a little bit to make it work. And what also helped, and I will give a salute to these individuals, what also helped things move fairly quickly is that there is something called trial periods. During trial periods, companies will solicit individuals who will volunteer to go through these trial runs, these trial tests. And guess what? Tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people stepped up to the plate. They stepped up to the plate. They took the vaccine, not knowing what was going to happen, but they stepped up to the plate to help with the trials. So that's what's helped speed everything up as well. We have to think about all these different things. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we don't think about. We just think about the surface stuff. But if we go back and we start realizing, how do these things actually come into play? It's just like, for example, if you are a great basketball player, you didn't become a great basketball player overnight. It took trial and error. It took practice. It took you getting out on the court and during the nighttime by yourself to shoot those twos, shoot those threes. And then eventually you became great. That's what happened. Then one day, you know what? You say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead on and try to slam dunk. And then what happens? You do it and you win. You win and what I mean by you win is the fact that you start accomplishing these different methods of playing the game, which makes you great. It's the same thing with any other process in the world. There's trials. There's trials in relationships. Let's keep it 100. When you first meet someone, right? When you first meet someone, sure. Oh, it's all this and that and that and that. But once you guys really decide to get together, then it's really time to see what the dealio is. And if you decide to move in together, you're really going to get it. And then you might not get it all until you say, I do, if you make it that far. but there's going to be trials and tribulations in a relationship. And that's what that is. And if during the trials you build and you get greater, you get stronger until the point where it's like, boom, we are solid as a rock. We Ashford and Simpson around this joint. That's how it is. So when it comes to the COVID virus, COVID vaccine, it's the same thing. It's like anything else in this world. Things are going to evolve. Things are going to happen quicker. And during those periods, while things are being deployed, things are going to be tried. And as they're being tried, you learn more about certain things. You make adjustments if you need to. You make those adjustments. You deploy again. You try and try and try till it's good enough to go. And like I said, people were talking about, I'm not going to do this until I'm not going to do this because people are there. It's not approved by the FDA, but it got approved by the FDA. And then people had, what did they say next? They were coming up with another excuse. All I'm saying is, please think about someone other than yourself for a moment. Think about someone other than it just being because it's my God-given right. Sure, we have some great freedoms here in the United States of America. You guys have no clue. If you were in the military, believe me, you know. But for the individuals that have never been to the military, you have no clue. But at the same time, for those that don't know, you take it for granted without knowing what freedom really, really means. And all the stuff that you have to go through to make sure that you keep that freedom. That's all I'm saying. Something as simple. Would you, if this thing came up and blew up right now, and they mandated that you stayed in your house for 6 months, meaning you could not come out your house for 6 months, what would you do then? And you think about it. Then they go on and say this could have all been handled easily. We would have never even made it this far had it been these individuals would have just went on and got that shot. We've already proven that the shot is not going to go out here and we're not going to press a button and all of a sudden everybody's going to fall dead. You know, they had this thing about where it was going to be a way to reduce the population and all these different things. Oh my God. Some of the stories I heard, just amazing. Because at the end of the day, God has the last say. And if you believe in him, you will do the right thing. Because you can't be God. You don't know when you're going to die. All you can do is be ready. So if it's your time to go, you're going to go. You could die eating ice cream. You could die drinking water. You could die walking your dog. You could die watching TV. And you ain't even got to worry about the shot. So when you start, if you're not thinking about those things, hey, you might want to start thinking about it. But I've been talking about this long enough. I just wanted to make sure that I brought it up. I see you, Brandon. I got my brother-in-law, EJ, in here, my brother-in-law, Robert, in here. I appreciate you guys coming by. EJ, I appreciate your comments, man. You know, you definitely, I read it. So, I know there are some people out there that think, have that same thought, and that's good. And that's what it's about. It's not me being one-sided. And that's why I invited people to actually come into the Zoom, but I figured that I would get no one to come into the Zoom to really talk about this, because when I talk about serious matters, I usually don't get that. So I appreciate you coming on and actually in the chat and actually posting something. So salute to you, my brother. Much love to you and our sister. For sure. Salute. We love you guys as always. You know that, my brother. Brandon, like I say, it's good that you're here. Tammy, we love you, love, and appreciate you. I'm trying to do my best. I just want to make sure that people are right. It's just it's getting to the point where we just must really, really think about what we're doing and how we're handling ourselves. And I always think about others and who I'm about, who I'm with, what am I doing? The step that I'm making, is it for the benefit of not only me, but for others in cases like this? That's what we have to understand. Because if you're going to be selfish and you're not saying you're not going to take the shot, you're not going to wear your mask, you're not going to do this because it's your God-given right, or it's my freedom, then you are seriously mistaken on so many levels, and you need to go back and re-examine yourselves, because it's not about you. It's about the world and everyone around you. And as far as it comes to our kids are kids. Let them stay in the kids' place. You're the adult. Stay in the adult place and stay in the parent place and teach them and lead them the proper way. Don't put these teachers in danger. These teachers are going to school. They have their masks on. They are coming in with all kinds of Lysol, spraying down the rooms, wiping down the rooms, wearing extra face shields, everything, so that they can not only protect themselves, but protect the students that are in the class as well. So have your child reciprocate that. How about that? That'll be the best way to do this. And as far as all the stuff with these politicians and all these people in these organizations who are leaders, and they say that, of course, they've been vaccinated, but I'm not getting ready to mandate that my organization gets the shot. Well, guess what? That, like I said, that's kind of like a hypocritical situation to me, because you're going against the same people who are against what you just did, but at the same time, to save face so that you lose your position and lose, which i.e. turns into losing your money, instead of standing up, you decide to make that particular decision, which then hurts so many others. And I want you guys to always think about this. For those who say no, and they say no because they're listening to someone else and they don't have all the facts, or they don't have the information that they need, and they haven't taken the time to learn about themselves to make sure that they are not taking the shot because they may genuinely have some health reasons, which I understand that may be some reservations there. You talk to your doctor, you get a full examination, blood work, the whole lipid profile, everything, to make a better determination on that, because there's nothing like getting it from yourself through your blood, through whatever means you have to get it, and then seeing the results come back on paper, and then making a conscious decision, as opposed to someone sitting on YouTube saying, man, they got this and that in there, man, and all the stuff. And, this is going to track you, man. And if you get this and that and blah, 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 man, kill that. Kill that noise, because that's all it is to me. It's noise, because you have not taken the time to do it yourself. You're going to rely on someone else. You're going to rely on someone else without making conscious decisions that are for you. And like I say, just think about it. After as you're making these decisions for yourself, if you say no and you're just doing it off of listening, it's time to re-examine. And I'll leave you with this. Back in the day when I was in the Navy, soon after we started traveling overseas, there was this thing that came out there called AIDS. Now, AIDS was the final result of a conversion from HIV. Now, in order to test for HIV back in those days, and this was well over 20 years ago, I'm talking maybe 30 years. Yes, 30 years ago, maybe. In order to test for it, They told you, they said you have to wait almost 10 years because the HIV virus, right? The HIV virus could hide in your system for up to 10 years without being detected. Do you guys recall that? Do you guys recall that? So you had people that had been out overseas, and I was one of them, having a good time, enjoying myself, doing whatever. And then once this thing started really hitting America, we was like, what the, you know what I'm saying? And then it was like, we could give you a preliminary test, but you don't really know for 10 years. So we have to recheck you the preliminary test. We'll check you again at 5 years, and then we'll do it again at 10 years. That's how they explained it to me. And that's exactly how I got my test. Thank God all of them came out negative. But if you did have HIV, then it would start to attack your immune system, and then that would switch over to AIDS. Now, a lot of people say now, well, how was Magic Johnson surviving HIV? And that was because that man had money, and that man was getting some of the most helpful science he could possibly get to live with HIV. So, in a nutshell, the virus, number one, before I get back to Magic Johnson, we don't know what the virus, in terms of that, back in the day, that virus would hide. So when people would say, people are saying, well, if they could create this one, they created that too fast without even curing other viruses and other diseases. Other viruses and other diseases respond differently in the human body. So you can't create one vaccine that's going to fix everything. It's just not possible. That's why you had polio shot, you had the mumps shots, you had a chickenpox shot, you had oh my God, what's the other? Did I say mumps? Whooping cough. All these different ones. They were all separate shots, separate vaccines. And that was because one would not act as a blanket to knock all of them out. So with the COVID shot was designed to focus in on the proteins that are created from the COVID virus so that it would know how to fight it. So I hear people saying, oh, it's not curing cancer. We've been out here all this time and they haven't had a cure for AIDS or whatever. But guess what? They got all these medications on the internet, at pharmacies, everywhere, as it relates to these particular diseases being handled, being managed. Maybe one day they will come with one. It's just like syphilis and I forget the other. What's the same thing? Herpes. Herpes is not cured, but you can manage it. So there's different things, different strands, different makes of a virus or some type of illness that's in your body that does that requires something else. So don't look for a cure-all for one thing that's going to blanket everything. Not even the common cold. The common cold, we receive the common cold from hundreds and hundreds of different viruses that we breathe in every day. Every day. When you walk out on the air, you're breathing in hundreds and hundreds of viruses. It's just that our body, for the most part, is immune to them. And that's what we have to do with this COVID-19 situation. We have to get to a point where we can have this herd immunity situation happen, and then we'll be able to breathe again. Plain and simple. Magic Johnson, everyone has asked numerous times how he was able to do it, and it all came down to the people he had working for him, the money that he had behind it, and he did it. He even mentioned something about it briefly one time before, about a team. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he mentioned scientific team. It's been years since I've seen it, but it all goes back to he had to have something to pinpoint that particular deal and track it. And once they learned about it and understood it, they knew how to manage it. And that's where we are today, knowing how to manage HIV. I know you guys have seen the HIV commercials and being able to take a pill once a day. That type of situation is happening. So some progress has been made. And hopefully the same progress will be made with this COVID-19. And of course, this Delta variant is even worse because it's attacking our youth. Who wants to turn on the TV and hear that children are dying? If there's not one thing that will sadden anyone, I don't care if you have a heart, the one thing that will sadden an adult the most is knowing that a kid is hurt or has died from something that was preventable. Think about that. I got to go. I've been talking to you guys for nearly an hour and 20 minutes. And I know that you guys are tired of me now. This is Square Not Live. I just wanted to make sure I got that out. And I'm actually coming back on my podcast. It's been a while since I've done it. I've been quite busy, but it's time for me to get back into talking about different things. Not only this podcast is not only about music, but real issues. Also great people, interesting people, interesting topics, whatever it may be. If you ever at one time feel that you want to have us, talk about something, by all means, let's do it. I am all for it. And again, everything that I've said today, totally my opinion. I'm not trying to convert anybody, but I'm just giving you food for thought. As it relates to not only you just need to get out of yourselves and think about those around you, especially your loved ones, and do the right thing. Let's try to get this thing out the way, because I'm sick to death of going in a place and hearing someone cough and then I want to start running. Before this pre-pandemic thing, somebody sneezed or coughed. It was just like, oh, okay, they got a cold or something. They're good. Now, when we hear that, we ready to knock them out, shoot them, or run. You know what I'm saying? And that don't make sense. So let's get it together, and we can get it together as long as we just do the right thing. And that is learn about yourselves, do your own research. Don't listen to what people are telling you all the time, especially these YouTubers. I see a lot of them. I've watched a lot of videos over the past several weeks because I was preparing for this right here. And some of the stuff that I was hearing was just flooring. It was just really, I was just floored. And then for some people that I know to actually be manipulated, it just really, I said, you know what, is enough of this. I got to put my part out there, and you guys know where I am with it. And I'm done with it, and it is good to go. For those who that we know that that tested positive for COVID, we pray that you guys are going to be okay. And for those that we lost, we send up our love and our prayers to the family, of course, to the families. Just know that you're always in our hearts, and our loved ones who have passed, we never forget them. And just know that if there's not anything that will jog your memory, and when you think about COVID, I want to leave you with this: 600,000. Take care.